Okay, so we're on to episode 2. I've just formed the Caledonian Confederation, which is great. And now we're just going to do a little bit of colonizing, or spreading, to... Yeah, Moria's going through a big thing. Rome's getting bigger. Edward was dealing with the rebellion. We're going to do some infrastructure building so we can have more people. Yeah, Edward are going through a fight. There we go. We just became a monarchy. Woo, yeah. Yeah, let's see who's good for which position. I mean, it's just a constant... In this game, you're just constantly just juggling between which position goes where. There's no real rhyme or reason to it other than who's got the best stat and best loyalty and is already... Which family already has positions. I mean, you could just choose the best person for the job every time, but that would usually mean that none of the family members would get positions, so they'd all hate you and rebel every 5 seconds, so not really much of a choice there. Yeah, we're just going to be playing tall right now, pretty much. I mean, I could skip through this whole video and probably the only thing we'd learn... Well, I'll probably start colonizing Scandinavia by the end of this, and I'll probably form Albion by the end of this. We'll see. I can't remember if I did it in the third video or the second. Regardless, this one's 4 hours long, so it's only running at 4 times speed. Yeah, as you can see, I'm trying to think of ways to colonize. Yeah, so I'm gonna start building. Yeah, it's just completing the mission tree. You know, I wish I still had the original audio for all of this, because I actually read through each of these, and I could probably make a nice video out of it, but oh well. Most of it is just you deciding whether or not you're gonna go down the path of being monarchy or in the previous tree I went through a monarchy or republic, and then it's about whether or not you're going to handle other groups peacefully or antagonistically, or if you're going to reform your culture and transform yourself into Phoenician or Greek, which is hilarious to me, or just keep the original Brittonic kind of heritage. It's all interesting. Oh, is the second Civil War gonna happen? Oh, I again thought that was happening in the third video. Ooh, we're in for a treat. Lots of Civil Wars. Yeah, it's gonna happen. There. Yeah. Caledonian Revolt. I'm gonna restart to try and avoid it. I'm gonna realize I have nothing that I can do, and then I'm just gonna buy a whole bunch of mercenaries. Yeah, I tried to make friends with him before, and like I said, making friends is just such a pain. And I figured out I could persuade them. So just a whole lot of building. But the second Civil War is going to happen. I managed to avoid it this time, but I will not be so lucky next time. There we go. And do all of the formation again. This is hilarious. All of this BS again. Yep, I still have a Civil War on my hands. Here it comes. Yeah, and this time I'm like, fine, you want to do it? Let's do it. And I buy as many mercenaries as I can. And I put them on auto. I adjust their tactics. And I take out my levies. And I'm like, bring it. Puts me in major debt, but worth it. And here it comes. Yep. Like I said, it's just mostly I take all the mercenaries, put them on auto, and then take back the place slowly but surely. Luckily, in this rebellion, it's just all of England, which means I don't have to jump back from Ireland to Scotland to England to be able to put them down. Just have to make a wall, basically down the island, which isn't the worst. Goes by relatively quickly. They do start. They every time they rebel, they reset everything that I did, which is the biggest frustration of a rebellion in the end, other than the fact that it can get out of control and last for hundreds and hundreds of years. Yeah, see, I'm chasing them down. For some reason, I'm gonna lose, even though I have more power. So I gave myself a little cheat and still lost. Teach you for cheating. And then I undid it, but it didn't matter. They're still, for some reason, crushing my forces. And as it turned out, it was because he was using a better tactic against my tactic, and he was over a river, which means that they had a big fording advantage. Very frustrating, but I eventually overpowered them. By putting all of my armies together and making a 12,000 stack, which is, I mean, yeah, brute force your way through it. Anyway, so that was the end of the rebellion, the second one, and that will be the last rebellion of the Imperator Rome playthrough. I also don't go through any real rebellions in the Crusader Kings playthrough, and that will become clear as why. Wasn't my favorite, but you know, I got through it. It was very frustrating. Like I said, they reset all the work you do except for the buildings. So if you choose a place to be a capital, you have to go and choose all the places that want to be a capital. They'll make buildings while they're doing it, so they'll make wonders that are useless or that you don't want. So you have to get rid of them. A lot of stuff like that. It's not exactly the most enjoyable thing, but it's pretty harmless. It's just a pain in the ass. So then we're going to have a fair amount of just kind of slowly expanding going on. I'm going to finish colonizing the provinces in Ireland, and then I'm going to set up a colony in Scandinavia. And then I think that'll be it for this video. After that, it's mostly just waiting for Chaucer to be formed in the way that we want them to be formed. There's a narrow strip of land that connects Scandinavia to northern France and England. Yeah. It starts off as a little bite, and then I, spread to Venetia eventually. But it's one step at a time. Beyond that, there isn't much going on. I mean, the mission tree in Invictus is really great. I highly encourage anyone that likes playing as Britain inside this game to try the Invictus mod and replay it, because the mission trees that you get are all kind of interesting and well worth it. That goes for most of the... I mean, if you like playing as anyone other than Rome, Invictus mod is pretty much great, and even if you like playing as Rome, Invictus mod gives a little bit more flavor. I would like it if people would get each other's technologies like you do when you integrate other cultures in the original vanilla version, but that doesn't seem to be within the Invictus kind of style, and they revamped all the technology trees anyways, so not as necessary as it was before. Still would have been nice. Sorry for that noise. So yeah, I'm just gonna go through and build all the things and resituate all the capitals, because blah 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 blah. I'm just gonna build a couple of buildings that are gonna allow me to do certain mission trees. Yeah, I mean, there's another call from the Edwai to help that I'm going to screw up. I'm gonna form an alliance with the Avernii, which is gonna, or the Averni, which is then gonna cancel my alliance with the Edwai. It's funny how things turn out like that. Got some pretenders to the throne, but that's not really a big deal. My legitimacy is ridiculous. Carthage is getting big. They're eventually going to absorb all of southern Spain, and Rome's going to take northern Spain. Macedon's going to get absorbed by Rome as well. We're not there yet. The Seleucids and the Ptolemies are surprisingly going to survive, and so is Parthia into Europa 4, which is hilarious. Yeah, making my first wonder. Yeah, and I want diplomatic power and influence and stuff, so I'm choosing a bunch of diplomacy stuff or influence stuff. And honored leader, because integration is integrated culture happiness can really help out. Yeah, I'm gonna do the mission that makes me make a lot of fish. Yep, just completing as many missions as I can do. Unite Albion! Booyah! Albion is now a nation. Woot! Yeah. So now I've done what I set out to do. My whole ambition for this original Imperator game was just to make Albion and I guess get a colony in Scandinavia, but like at bare minimum at least get Albion. And I've done it. I really didn't need to play this game any further than this. I wanted to make sure that a lot of different cultures survived into Crusader Kings 3. And I could have finished it right here and done that. But I didn't. I chose to keep on going, and that kind of diminished the variety that existed. But not to a critical point where there was only 2 or 3 factions left. There was actually a couple left by the time we get to Crusader Kings 3, but it is one of those where I'm like, I could have done it right here and there'd be so many more, but it's fine. It's fine. So yeah, Formed Albion. I love this idea of a united British Isles and Ireland of insular Celtic people that managed to survive into, the late medieval age. Obviously, we're only going to make it to year 0 here, and we don't even make it to that. We make it to like 79 BC or something like that. So, maybe there was, maybe there wasn't actually a figure that people kind of respected or saw. No one really knows. This is 200-300 years, 200-300, 400, 600, 700 years before King Arthur would be around. So yeah, this is a totally made up version of history, which I don't mind. It makes the end game a lot more interesting when you're not really sure who's going to become the fascist empire that we all have to fight against. Hopefully it won't be us. Let's see. I mean, as far as any of the other things that you might be concerned about are going, like, I know exactly which buildings I want to build to be able to maximize my gameplay. I don't need marketplaces, but they are very useful for my playstyle. So in Albion, I wouldn't really need to build up marketplaces or have great theaters for conversion purposes or temples for conversion and theaters for assimilation purposes. And by extension, marketplaces also help with not only trade revenue and trade routes, but also with assimilation as well. So I play a pretty heavy assimilation game. I usually only integrate about 2 to 3 groups at a time, especially in this mod, because you're really heavily penalized for learning other cultures' military traditions and taking on other cultures as integrated cultures. So it makes it really hard to play, an idealistic kind of egalitarian society. The best you can hope for is that most of the unintegrated people are just living lives that don't suck, which is the best you can hope for. Beyond that, there's not like, I play with Foundry so I get as many resources as possible. I don't play with Earthworks because I don't want to sacrifice either the manpower or the population total. I usually max out aqueducts. I try and max out infrastructure so that you can get as many people in population growth as possible. Forms are a big part of it. Mills are a big part of it. If I get far enough and I have enough slots in a city, I'll usually, just for the purpose of having them, have at least one courthouse and then a marketplace, a library, a taxation office, and a training ground, just to have the 4 of them. If I get bigger than that, usually I'll give it a granary or something else that is kind of protected for the area, like a fortress or something in that vein. If they're on the water, which they usually are, I'll make sure the port gets to level 3. Just depends on what we're doing, where we're going, what's this purpose of each of the buildings that we're actually using them for. So it's not like I'm doing anything too crafty or abusing the system too much. But like I said, the Invictus mod really does give you a lot of very interesting things to play off of. So now I'm just maxing out the technology tree. Basically, I want to make sure that Rome can't take me over. So at this point, because I've reached my goal, I don't really care about playing fair against other nations or whatever. I'm gonna take a little bit of Rome territory from Rome to basically stop them from taking me over or stop them from antagonizing my border, and then that's about it. I don't really want to have antagonistic relations with the rest of the players in this game, be it in CK3 or in Imperator Rome. So I'm just being pretty cautious here as a way of solidifying the next 100 200 years of gameplay. I don't really recommend this because it kind of takes the fun out of it, getting your tech tree and finishing it off. So unless you're in a situation like mine where you don't mind because the challenge of whatever the initial gameplay is over, now you just want to make sure that it doesn't ruin your save. Yeah, but you could do it without doing what I did. I'm just making sure that I don't have to go back 8 hours because something goes wrong later on. Yeah, maxing out trade. Gotta get a marriage going. Gotta choose the right people for the jobs. Balance out the royal families or the noble families. Yep. Yeah, here we go. There we go. See, I've got the boats ready to make mainland if I need to, and I'm about to make my first legion. Ain't that cute? There we go. This is the beginning. Now I can pretty much dominate the landscape no matter what. Don't have to worry about my horsemen and my infantry being commanded by two different generals for no reason. For a specific reason that's actually more appropriate. Anyways, if you can't, tie them together, then it doesn't make any sense. So let's see. Alright, I'm trying to figure out if I can actually turn this place into a city so that I can take advantage of the grain. But this will be a waste of time because it doesn't work. It's fine though. Yeah, I'm just thinking about it. What am I going to do next? What's the next move? I'm looking at the pretenders, wondering what I can do about them. What I should do is get jumping on this colony. But I guess I'm just making sure that the family sticks together appropriately. Okay. Yeah, maxing out aqueducts. Looks like me. In this mod, you can have a maximum of 15 aqueducts, which I don't hate, but it is a little bit sad that I can't just do unlimited aqueducts like I used to be able to. But I like the Invictus mod more than I dislike the little changes that they've made. Okay. finally I'm going to start looking at how to do those 3 quests. See, that's the 4th time trying to make friends with someone who was unhappy. It didn't work. Very frustrating. Yes, anti-piracy, finally. Anti-piracy gives you happiness. I generally like the ones that give me happiness, and I chose to do cultural assimilation, which gives me a 30% boost on assimilation, which is great. Not that I'll need it, because honestly the manpower I have at this point is pretty much stable enough to do anything I want to do, but as it turns out, it will become necessary. And as you can see, Chaucia, the little pink strip right between Scandinavia and the British Isles, is going to become mine, because I'm going to notice it as the perfect, I've said this before, landing strip to lead my troops from southern England across northern France to northern Scandinavia through the Low Countries of northern Germany. I really can't express enough how much it perfectly fit into my little plan of having an empire on the North Sea and the Baltic Sea. I figured, once I took Scandinavia, that would be enough, but then I realized, taking the land around the Baltic Sea is actually, that's like appropriate for, given that we're like a burgeoning naval power, because we conquered the island, we finally united all the tribes, we formed a monarchy, we centralized all the bureaucracy. And now we're just starting to realize, like, oh yeah, we're kind of hard to conquer, aren't we? People need boats. Lots of boats before they'd actually be able to overpower us. Maybe we can, have lots of boats ourselves. That way they can't even make boats to get to us. We destroy all their boats while they're in port. Ooh, I like this plan. So I see them as the burgeoning naval power that's about to expand. And they have the ships to back it up. But really it's about the fact that they're going to realize, no, the North Sea is like our Mediterranean. The North Sea and the Baltic Sea is our Mediterranean and the Black Sea. It connects us to all the lands that we could trade our goods to, that we have easy access to, that we could maintain, trade ports in or our own settlements in. So I think that that's the way that it's starting to transform at this point. Okay, come on, me, get back from my break. I took 4 breaks during this, but it's still not that bad considering I went for an hour before each break, but still. Come on. There we go. So, yeah, I'm gonna look at Adwai and try and figure out how to stop them from getting conquered. I'm gonna make an alliance, then they're gonna reach out for me to help defend them again, and I'm gonna screw up and they're gonna lose lots of land to the Romans, sadly. And that is a huge mistake that I did not mean to make. I figured they would be like France. Rome would kind of remain in Italy and Illyria, and maybe they'd get over Macedon. That would be the worst of it. Carthage would take Spain and northern West Africa. It would kind of remain civil, but no. Yeah, and now I'm going to make a whole bunch more ships, like I said. Burden naval power. I'm just going to slowly make our way. Thing about having 106 tech military tech is that it also makes your ships and your legions and your troops more expensive. So while it can be incredibly beneficial towards your ability to take on other powers because it makes your troops that much more effective and disciplined, blah, 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 it also costs a buttload. So it's not really sustainable unless you can take land and increase trade and taxes to be able to compensate it, which means a lot more people than you should have at this point. You're basically just like gaming the system to population explode. Yeah, see, my max is at 210 now. It's gonna be at about 500 by the end. 500 pops in a single city is ridiculous, let alone the province, because each of their population totals will settlements is usually around able to handle somewhere between 25 and 30 people. All of my northern settlements that don't have cities in them will be able to handle like 60 to 70 people, so it gets a little bit ridiculous. And you have to consider that you have to consider that because Scotland has mountainous territories and is considered frigid, it gets minus 40% to its population total, which is like pretty hardcore when you consider that Rome starts with farmlands that give you plus 10, and in a fertile area which gives you another plus 10, and something to do with appropriate weather or something like that, which gives them another plus 20. So we're literally minus 80 from trying to compete with Rome, and minus 8% population total from trying to compete with Rome, which means that we have to do a lot more infrastructure development to counteract it. Very difficult. And it requires a ridiculous amount of influence in the end. I think if I did it without using console commands, it would probably take me until year 200 AD before I could get Caledonia to even comparable populations without using mass amounts of influence additions. Because it is totally like I've done it. I've played the game without console commands, so it is all theoretically possible. It just takes more time, and I didn't want, like I said, the game to be 70 hours, because it can easily be that if you just keep on playing past zero and keep on building and keep on expanding. I find that they're especially for the purpose of a Paradox mega campaign, we hit a pretty sizable like problem once you start playing that way in these games, because if you do all of your expanding in one game, you're basically just playing tall for the rest of them. And considering the game is supposed to end with a bang by having a World War II event happen, or World War II like event happen, where the fate of the known world is kind of determined in it, if you're everywhere, then it usually becomes like a rebellion of some sort, or you just quashing, natives from different parts of the world. Neither of those two options are great, so I'd rather let new nations form, let these new cultures kind of determine their fates and see how the world ends up. Wouldn't it be nice if I could play the rest of the game kind of trying to control the way the world works with soft power, and just encourage democracy and free speech and egalitarianism. It's so difficult in Victoria 3 to actually get a egalitarian population situation, because most of them want racial segregation. They're too afraid of each other. So it's pretty difficult to actually get to a place where they're not doing ethno-states or other things like that. Anyway, so it should be interesting. We'll see how things go. Right now, we've got a large chunk of Russia that I don't necessarily want to expand. I've got 2 vassals that are asking for freedom once we get to Europa 4. I kind of wanted to make a North Empire where I just took Canada and like Northern Europe and Northern Russia, which is basically just Russia, and then just connect my empire around the globe that way. We'll see if that's feasible. It might not be possible considering the limitations of the game, but maybe we'll get there. I also don't want to conquer the natives. I want to integrate them if I can. If I can't, then I just want to live peacefully with them as neighbors. I don't really have any ambitions to take over the United States, though, you know, it might make certain things in Victoria 3 a little bit more easy. I feel that once we have land in Russia and Northern Europe and North America, we'll have more than enough resources to go around for our empire, but that's just me. You never know. And that's assuming that I manage to hold on to the vassals and I don't just let them form a new Russia, which is very possible. And also, one of them is Saxony, so a new Russia and a new Germany. Be quite interesting. I have a feeling that if I do let them go, that they're going to immediately conquer Rome and Parthia, but we'll see. You never know. Maybe they'll be peaceful neighbors to everyone. Maybe they won't attack me. Maybe they will. I don't know, man. We'll see. We'll see. I'm looking forward to finally playing Europa 4 and editing all of these videos, but we'll see. Europa 4 might just turn into a nightmare. Also, I ran into an issue when running my file from CK3 to Europa 4. Apparently, my file was literally half a gig. My save file was literally half a gig large, which is ridiculous. Most save files are like, I don't know, 23K, something like that. And so, like, having a save file that's literally 500 megabytes is mind-blowing, and now I'm worried that that's the reason why the game is chugging at the end of CK3, which it was big time. We didn't even make it to 1200 in the Mongol invasion. Forget about the Black Death in 1300s. The game was chugging so hard we couldn't even make it there. And so I don't know if Europa 4 is going to be any better. We'll see if it chugs. We'll see if it doesn't. If it does, we'll have to figure out a new strategy to play these games. Find a way to make the file sizes and the saves smaller. Maybe I'll do it completely vanilla and take away all the extra mods, because that might be affecting them. I have no real idea. And honestly, I don't really want to go through all of this again. I like pacing out my Caledonian runs. I like doing a Caledonian run once in a while, but I like pacing them out. My Scottish runs or whatever. If I can't play Canada, then I want to play Scotland. If I can't play Scotland, then I want to play Caledonians. Yeah, here we go! Here we go! Woo! Sorry, I'm getting all excited and yelling, but we just made a colony in Scandinavia, doodah. Yeah. And soon we're going to take the entirety of Scandinavia. I don't know if I'm going to do it in this video. I might do it in the next. No, I'm pretty sure I do it in this video. Let's see. I can't remember exactly. I know for sure by the time we end this, I'll be spread all the way to Venedia on the eastern side of the Baltic Sea. But, we'll see. I think I've said we'll see about 200 times now. I apologize to everyone that knows and is annoyed by it. More infrastructure, yay. Spread a little bit more. I'm going to wait until I can't expand anymore, and then I'm going to conquer the rest of the Scandinavian tribes. I'm also looking for different places that I can make metropolises, but sadly I'm not going to get that many that actually make it to a metropolis level. Which is too bad, but it's not the end of the world. Now I'm just checking which ones can I conquer, which ones should I not. There we go. Make a war claim on them. Now here's the trick. $100 ships means I could take 50,000 troops. Yeah, I'm gonna make all the foundries that got deleted by the rebellion. That's frustrating as hell. And then, like, I'm getting re-frustrated by re-encountering it. Anyways. Then I'm gonna take the legionary. Come on, bro. Come on, me. Take the legionary. Put him on the boat. Go and conquer Scandinavia. You did it. You got all the buildings. Trust me, you got all the buildings. It's fine. I know you want to make a couple more cities. It's fine for now. So right now I'm just trying to figure out what I want to do first. And I should be helping the Adwai right now. Right now. I'm going to ask them for military access. I'm wondering why I can't. Why is it not? How are you not going there? Why are you not doing the thing? Enhancing the Legion a little bit. I'm going to make it there too late, and they're totally going to be able to handle it without me. I made a couple new cities, yay, to upgrade the population. There we go. See now, a lot more cities. A lot more cities in the British Isles. Makes a lot more sense. I gave them all at least a certain amount of space in between them, so there was the illusion that there were farmlands in between each of them. It made sense to me. Okay, he's back from the fighting. They're done. They're about to be conquered by Rome, but I don't know it yet. Yeah, we're gonna modernize so I can have more legions. Woot! Okay, come on. Come on now, come on now, come on now. Conquer Tracia, conquer Scandinavia. Let's do this. Let's do this. I'm getting annoyed with myself. Come on. Come on, I know I'm gonna do it. Just get to it already. I think I like it more when it's 7 times the speed. Okay. Right, I discovered the macro building button, and I'm like, oh, this is how you're supposed to do it. Duh. There we go. Yes, the final location was colonized. That's wonderful. Wonderful. Okay. That means I'm gonna start to conquer soon. I'm gonna start to conquer soon, right after I build all the stuff. Let's build the stuff. Okay, let's go conquer. See? Putting it on the boat. Good job. Get some dates. Add some food supply. Always add food supply to your capital. If you can, put 2 grain no matter what. And guess what? it's wartime, and I'm gonna conquer them with my little old legion, which is now like 12,000 something. Yeah, 11,500. Yeah. Yep. Good luck. It is gonna work, but at the same time, like, oof, it's only because my tech is at literally 107 military tech. Otherwise, this would not work. It would be an incredibly bad moment where they would constantly just move beyond my troops and re-siege any location that I sieged. It's only because I stack wiped pretty much every one of them that I came into. Yep. It goes incredibly well in my favor. I conquer 3 of the Scandinavian tribes in one fell swoop. They try to reconquer areas. I just destroy them. And then... Because if not, I would have had to wait until I had a second legion, or I used other levies inside the battle, which actually wouldn't have been impossible, but this certainly made it a lot easier. Yeah, see, they even came down and conquered me, which I found hilarious, so I sent a mercenary on them. Yep, they went back up. Now we're going to put our ships at a certain point so that they can't get out. There we go. Grab all. And then I'm going to be like, oh, I have some space. I can conquer more. Yep, white peace imminent, but I'm going to siege them out. Booyah. Go. I'm going to realize I have another fortress. We're going to destroy their troops. I'm going to siege out their other fortress. Get back the leather I lost. And then, booyah. I gain most of the territory. Then it's just a slow, easy pickings of all the different groups and me cleaning up what they were doing. Of course, if you want food areas, Scandinavia is one of the worst areas to go to. Though they do have a good supply of fish, that is definitely for sure. They also have 2 territories within them that only have one source of food or no sources of food. So if you want a food-producing area, if you're starting in Britain, if you're starting in the British Isles, England will mostly cover you for the beginning of your expansion. But if you want more food areas, definitely you want to go France. France is close. France has got all the land that you want. France has got lots of different food items in its entire borders. If you want to go northern France and northern Germany, you'll still get enough food areas that it will be pretty much acceptable. The further east you go, the bigger amounts of food areas and grain areas that you'll find, which is really what you're looking for. So if you want to go into the Baltic areas or just below the Baltic Sea, that's really where you're going to get some beautiful food areas. But if you decide to go France and Spain, that's also kind of lucrative. There's lots of different food sources down there. Maybe not as many grain sources as you'll find around the Danube or around Egypt or other areas like that, where it's very plentiful, even parts of Sicily and other parts in Rome. But it will have enough that it will cover any of your bigger empire expansions. I mean, it's a classic playthrough. If you've played these games before, playing in the British Isles gives you a perfect launching point to be able to conquer the rest of the Europe. It just depends which way you go. Like I said, if you want to get food resources, then go south. If you want to, or go very far east. And if you're looking for, amber and other trade commodities, then go for Scandinavia. Oh, and this should, but like Caledonia, the province includes Ireland, and by itself, the Northern Caledonia, or like Scotland, a little bit trickier. But if you include all of the province of Scotland and Ireland together, they actually do have enough food resources to be able to compete with England by themselves, or Brigantia, which is the province that England resides in. England and Wales. And so You can survive off of. I think Ireland has like 2 wheat resources, but a bunch of fish and livestock. So they start to compete a little bit better with the other provinces once you have the full province at your disposal. Like I said, England is probably your best for wheat because they've got like 6 or 7 wheat sources. One of them is on a wonder, so you can't really do much about that. It's okay. You know, there's worse things. So you basically have 6 that you can cultivate. It's 6 wheat is pretty good. If you get enough populations in each of them early, you could probably get like 3 wheats or 3 wheats out of each of them. So I'll give you a total of 18 wheat to go through whatever it is, like 9 territories within the 2 provinces. Or I think a bit more. There's 4 in Ireland. There's 3 in Scotland. There's 6 in England. There's 2 in Wales. So, okay, so you'd have just about 1 wheat per area, which is still pretty good. And just enough to have 2 wheats in your capital, which is really what you want because it gives you food growth bonus. It's not absolutely necessary, but when thinking about like long-term growth in these games, food resources are the most important. There's lots of really cool ones like glass or amber or incense, or in this game specifically, they have sugar and other things like that. And cinnabar and in lots of little cool things that you can get. Vegetables actually provide food, which I love. They have fruits, which also provide food. Olives provide food. Wine doesn't, and salt doesn't, but it still does the Legion benefits. And there's another. Dates actually provide food too. So pretty much, olives, dates, fruits, vegetables, fish, livestock, and grain are pretty much all your food sources in this mod, and that's kind of appreciated because it makes it feel a little bit more realistic. Oh yeah, I got my 2nd Legion. Woo! And now we're gonna conquer all of these guys. Let's do it. Yep. I'm gonna block them off by taking the north side with my navy, prevent them from trying to conquer me. And then we're going to totally wreck them. It's not even funny. This is the advantage of console commands. Anyways. So yeah, here we go. Almost all of Scandinavia. It takes me a little while to get all of Scandinavia, but I'm pretty much all of Scandinavia within a couple of months of, or whatever, couple of years of the original colony that we found. There we go. There we go. And then I realized how big the other guy is. I'm like, okay, we're only going to take a part of him. I don't think I could afford to take more than that anyways. Yeah, there we go. We conquer, we grab all the territories, booyah. And then that guy, Neuthonia, becomes the bane of my existence. Sorry, becomes the next target of my fascination. Yep, start a war with them almost immediately. Yes, and then right in the middle of it, one of the tribes that was living up there decides to do a total migration, which was so random and weird. But it wasn't the worst. I mean, it wasn't the end of the world. It was just so weird. Yep. And there we go. I take the other 3 pretty quickly. I don't really expand upon Neuthonia until later. I'm going to conquer them. Oh, there's the migration again. I don't really expand into the East Baltic quickly. It takes me a little while. I want to get my foothold in Scandinavia kind of well established first. Then I'm going to notice Chausia, and that's when That's when it's going to start to get a little bit out of control. Yep. Build cities in pretty much every location I conquer, at least one per territory. And I can't take the northern part because I have no territories that connect to them, so they end up surviving for quite a while. Till I slowly colonize. Slowly. But now you see. I have Scandinavia, pretty much, and British Isles. Chaucia expands just the tiniest bit more, and then all of a sudden I'm like, Chaucia. Chaucia, you're looking so sweet. Oh, Chaucia, that's some thick ass sides there. Ooh, Chaucia, I like your landing strip. Ooh, oh, that's wrong. Yeah, I shouldn't say that. But, yeah. I mean, it really is just like a perfect landing strip. Literally. I mean, see, I'm just noticing Chaucia now. From the tip of Great Britain to Scandinavia. It would like connect my territories perfectly. I'd still have to keep my boats there, but not the end of the world. And then I'm like, let's put you on one side of it, put you on either side. Yeah, let's do this. A little more building. Gotta do some building. Always gotta be building. Need that development to be so high. That sweet development. And then I'm gonna be like, okay, conquer Chaucia time. Yeah. I would say, okay, mercenary, you go to the other side. We'll be on this side, and then we're gonna save and double team Chaucia. Booyah. Here we go. We're justifying our war claim, and there we go. Yep. There's my girlfriend. And then, booyah. I conquered Chaucia, and now I have the landing strip that connects Scandinavia to the British Isles. This is so, like, one of those moments where I just feel so perfect about the land acquisition we just got. It really just brings our nation together. Don't know why that came out of me, but anyways. That accent came out of me, but I just really like it. I like how it formed. It's like the North Sea is ours, We're controlling all the borders to any access to the British Isles. I really like that. I mean, you totally could go around us into the Bay of Biscay and, come up north, but, like, you still have to contend with our navy. So, like, I feel like this is really appropriate for our expansion. We're like, no, we're gonna take the North Sea, the lands around it, And then the rest of it, we'll let you be. Except for this little area where I'm going to take a whole bunch of land there. It's going to take a little bit more of Germany than I actually wanted to take, but it's mostly because there is a bunch of grain on that territory, and I want that grain. I want that sweet, sweet development. I want that sweet, sweet food security. So I'm definitely going to conquer them and a little bit of Rome. But, it'll work out. Anyway, so that's the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed. I will catch y'all very soon, and have a great day. Again, check me out, A to Z Zatch, ATOZED_ZATCH. All right. Have a good one.